In one 24-hour window, 675 drones screamed into Ukraine. An AI chip startup minted a $95 billion company on Nasdaq, and the Pope warned the world is heading toward annihilation. If you blinked yesterday, you missed history, and most people did. Here is everything the algorithm buried. Start with Kyiv. At dawn on May 14th, a Russian cruise missile slammed into a 9-story apartment block in the Darnitsia district. 24 people died, including 3 children. An entire stack of 18 apartments collapsed into rubble. The Ukrainian president declared a national day of mourning, calling it one of the deadliest strikes on the capital in the 4-year war. The building was civilian. The target was civilian. Here is the scale almost no Western outlet led with. In a single overnight wave, Moscow launched 675 attack drones and 56 missiles across Ukraine. Air defense crews shot down 652 drones and 41 missiles, a 96% intercept rate. That is staggering math. But the 4% that broke through still flattened a 9-story building. Modern air defense is a miracle and a tragedy in the same breath. Now pivot 2,000 miles south. While Kyiv was burying neighbors, 2 commercial ships were attacked near the Strait of Hormuz. One was anchored off the United Arab Emirates, boarded, and dragged toward Iranian waters. 20% of the world's oil passes through that strait every single day. Iran's foreign ministry said it cannot trust the Americans at all. The market barely flinched. The Pentagon did. Then the Pope dropped a line that will be quoted for decades. Pope Leo XIV, the first American pope, accused world leaders of pouring money into artificial intelligence and high-tech weapons while plunging humanity into a, quote, spiral of annihilation. He named AI and Ukraine in the same breath. A pope, in 2026, calling out Silicon Valley by name. That is not a normal Thursday. Now flip the camera to Wall Street. An AI chip company you have probably never heard of just pulled off the biggest tech IPO since Uber. Cerebras sold 30 million shares at $185, raising $5.55 billion in cash. The stock opened at $350. By close it sat at $311, up 68%. Market cap, $95 billion. Demand was 20 times oversubscribed. The AI gold rush is not cooling, it is metastasizing. Stop and absorb the contrast. While missiles rained on Ukrainian families, traders in Lower Manhattan were screaming over a chipmaker that fabricates a processor the size of a dinner plate. One world is fighting for tomorrow. Another is buying tomorrow at a $95 billion valuation. Both are happening simultaneously. Both are real. This is the texture of 2026, annihilation and acceleration sharing the same news cycle. That is not the only AI bomb that dropped. OpenAI revealed a new business arm called DeployCo, launching at a $10 billion pre-money valuation. The backers? Bain, Capgemini, and McKinsey, 3 of the largest consultancies on Earth. Translation: OpenAI is no longer just selling a chatbot. It is selling enterprise transformation. Every Fortune 500 boardroom is about to be quietly rewired by a partnership most workers have never heard of. Then came the partnership that doctors are still processing. Novo Nordisk, the maker of Ozempic, signed a sweeping deal with OpenAI to embed AI across drug discovery, clinical trials, manufacturing, and the entire supply chain. Full deployment by the end of 2026. The same year, the same week the Pope warned of an AI spiral, the world's most profitable obesity drug just handed its keys to the world's most powerful model. But the backlash is finally showing up in the data. A Gallup poll out this week found 71% of American adults oppose having an AI data center built near them. 71. That includes Republicans, Democrats, urban voters, rural voters. The same machines investors are bidding into the stratosphere, voters do not want in their backyard. Wall Street is buying the future. Main Street is locking the gate. Across the Pacific, Samsung Electronics is staring down its largest labor revolt in company history. 45,000 workers will walk off the job on May 21st in an 18-day strike. The trigger? Bonus structures tilted toward employees who hit AI-driven profitability targets, leaving everyone else feeling shut out. The world's biggest memory chip maker is about to learn that you cannot ride the AI wave if your factory floor refuses to clock in. Inside the Pentagon, a quieter shockwave. The White House confirmed the withdrawal of at least 5,000 American troops from Germany, gutting a footprint that has anchored European security since World War II. Bavarian towns that have hosted GIs for 60 years are watching the lease end. NATO allies are reading the message. Russia is reading the same message. And every diplomat in Brussels is doing the math on what fills the vacuum. Back home, the Senate confirmed a new chair of the Federal Reserve. He inherits an economy with a CAPE ratio of 39.6, a valuation level last seen in September 2000, right before the dot-com crash. Goldman Sachs has already warned of a 10 to 20% drawdown in the next 2 years. The new chair is walking into the cockpit while the altimeter is screaming, "Buckle up." And then there is the visit nobody saw coming. The director of the CIA quietly flew to Havana and met with Cuban officials, including a grandson of the Castro bloodline. Let that sink in. The head of American intelligence sitting across from the heirs of the revolution. The agenda was not officially released. Diplomatic ice does not melt by accident. Something is being negotiated that neither government wants on the front page yet. Israel announced it killed the military commander of Hamas, one of the architects of the October 7, 2023 attack that started the Gaza war. Hours later, the White House announced a joint operation in Nigeria that killed Abu Bakr al-Minuki, described as the second-in-command of the Islamic State globally. 2 of the most wanted men on the planet, taken out in the same 24-hour window. The world barely paused to notice. Even pop culture got swept into the storm. Eurovision 2026 closed in Vienna under the heaviest security in the contest's history. Rain, riot fences, and protests over Israel's inclusion failed to stop hundreds of thousands of fans from flooding the city. The biggest live music event on Earth, broadcast to 160 million viewers, took place under armed checkpoints. The line between entertainment and geopolitics has officially dissolved. Domestically, Virginia's state Supreme Court nullified an entire referendum on a new electoral map because lawmakers skipped a procedural step. Months of campaigning, millions of dollars in ad spend, voided. In a year when every state is fighting over district lines ahead of the midterms, a single procedural error just rewrote the political calendar for an entire commonwealth. The lesson? In 2026, paperwork can erase a vote faster than any opponent. On the other side of the planet, Afghan journalists in exile launched a new outlet from France called Kabul Times News. Their newsroom sits in Paris because returning home means prison or worse. Under Taliban rule, female journalists have been almost completely erased from public broadcasting. This launch happened on World Press Freedom Day, and almost no Western outlet covered it. That silence is, itself, the story. Connecting the threads, the Buffett indicator, the ratio of stock market value to GDP, just hit a new all-time high. Higher than 1929. Higher than 2000. Higher than 2008. While the IPO bell was ringing, while pharma was hugging OpenAI, while Wall Street partied, the most boring metric in finance was screaming, playing with fire, in red letters. The party is loud. The smoke alarm has been on for weeks. So zoom all the way out. In 24 hours, a war crime, a straight crisis, a papal warning, a $95 billion IPO, an OpenAI empire expansion, 2 terror leaders dead, a Fed handoff, a CIA backchannel, a 71% backlash, and a 45,000 workers strike. Any one of these is a top-of-the-hour story. All of them happened while your feed showed you a dancing dog. The algorithm is not your friend. Here is the question I cannot stop asking. If a single day can carry this much weight, what exactly are we missing on the days we are not paying attention? Drop your guess in the comments. The story you think the world quietly buried this week. I read every reply, and the answer might be the next video. See you on the other side of the next 24 hours. If this video brought you value, hit like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.